All right. Well, I wanted to come on here and talk about emails and notifications because you might not realize it, but you may have a problem and you don't even realize it. So kind of consider this a public service announcement, and actually just bring to your awareness some of the things that you might not be aware of. Okay. So the first thing is, most of us that run businesses, we're used to dealing with emails. And a lot of times we believe that emails are urgent, right? I don't know if you've ever felt like, oh, I gotta check my email. I gotta check my email. I gotta check my email, right? First thing you do when you get up, do it several times during the day, before you go to bed as well. You're checking emails all the time because there could be an important email that comes through, right? And so I know lots of people do this. I've done this in my own life as well. Same thing with notifications on your phone. But I want to talk a little bit about why those two things, and actually social media sometimes, which again you're watching this on social media probably, can sometimes be a danger that you just need to set some boundaries around. Okay, and let me talk about why. And because I don't want you to become a slave to your phone and to the companies who are trying to distract you to take money from you. Okay. So let's talk about this. So the first thing, emails, right? And I know again, right? Those of you that are in business, sometimes your organization expects you to check emails every so often. I remember one time I was doing some consulting for a company, and they wanted me to fill out this like form, or tell them that I would respond to emails within a certain number of hours and things like that. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that, right? But they expect all of their employees to do that. And so I know that sometimes you have expectations like that. But let's talk about why that's actually so dangerous. So what people don't realize is the more that you're distracted, the more you try to multitask, the less productive you are. And in fact, in the short term, it reduces your IQ, right? So there's actually been several different scientific studies that have been done on this. And so that's why I say, multitasking makes you stupid. Okay, because literally it like lowers your IQ, your cognitive abilities when you're trying to multitask and do all these different things. Now, also, whenever you're distracted, right, you lose the productivity, because typically what happens is, if you're focused on a particular task, it takes you the first 5 or 10 minutes to kind of get in and really, hone in on that and become very productive. So the problem is, again, if you're moving your attention every couple of minutes, you never really get into that groove where you get the maximum productivity as well. Okay, now those are just some simple things, right, around productivity and your cognitive abilities. um, but there's other things that go along with that too, which is the anxiety and stress that constantly looking at notifications and emails end up doing. And so let's talk about social media a little bit, and how maybe you can use some of these things a little bit better. First one is, I would suggest you only check your email once or twice a day. I mean, that's kind of a best practice for leaders. The fact is, most of the time, anything that seems like it's urgent, if you wait, and sometimes wait until the next day, what you find is most of the time those things take care of themselves, right? So instead of, getting up in a bunch of anxiety, which I'm sure you already have enough of, right? And you'd like to lower that down a little bit, checking your emails only a couple times a day actually helps you to reduce your anxiety and stress level as well. And again, most of the time people realize that email communication is not intended to be instantaneous. If somebody, sends you a text or slacks you or something like that, those messages typically require a little bit more urgent response. But what happens a lot of times is somebody will send you an email, then they'll send you a text 2 minutes later, and then they'll call you 5 minutes later and say, "Did you get my email?" Well, when that happens, you're going to just have to explain to them, no, because I only check emails a couple times a day, right? But again, most everything that's in an email is not going to be urgent. The same thing, most of the notifications and things that you get on social media are not urgent. Okay. But what happens is the different companies that do this, they like you to have the notifications on. Okay. And hey, Jay, you loving the beard, huh? It's getting a little scraggly. I got to go to the barber again, but yeah, I'm liking it too. Um, but the social media companies, they understand how the brain works. They understand how psychology works. And so as a result of that, they have designed those apps to literally give you a dopamine hit when you end up seeing things like likes that pop up or other things like that. Now, what I've been noticing too is, I use LinkedIn a lot. I use Facebook some, but LinkedIn especially, they'll just give me bullshit notifications that'll show up. And it's things like some person I don't even know who they are just liked some post. So they think I need to know about that, right? It's like, well, if I don't know the person, why the hell would I care about whether or not they just posted something, right? Or whether or not they just liked a post. But what they're trying to do is they want that little notification, right, on my screen or on my phone. They want that to pop up. And so what'll end up happening, I'll come in the morning, I'll do a couple of things that I need to do on social media, then I'll go about the rest of my day. And then maybe towards the end of the day, I'll check it again. And sure enough, what'll happen, right, is it knows when I'm on there. LinkedIn knows when I'm on there. And so it wants to keep me on the platform. And so it tries to send me a bunch of notifications when I'm doing stuff. And so what'll end up happening is, I'll do the stuff, I'll go away, I'll come back to check again. It's like, you have 20 notifications. And it's like, holy shit, what happened, right? You go in and look at the notifications. There's 20 of these things like, you might like this article. This person that you don't know just posted something, right? So they're purposely adding bullshit notifications just to try to get me to be on the platform more often. Now it's just, Facebook, other social medias. Again, I'm just talking about LinkedIn because I'm on there a lot. But so here's the thing to do with notifications is there's actually a setting on your phone. You can go under the notifications on your phone, turn off the notifications. Why? Because when you're sitting there, or this will happen to me sometimes, right? Until I turned them off. I'd be sitting there and I'd have a thought, right? Yeah, Andrew, that Social Network documentary on Netflix. Don't believe me, go watch the Netflix documentary. And there's lots of other documentaries like that that are out there that talk exactly about what I'm talking about today. Okay. But what would happen is, and until I actually turned off some of the notifications on my phone, here's what would happen. I'd have a thought. I need to send a message to so and so. I need to go maybe look up something on the internet real quick because I have a question that I want to have answered. So I'd pick up my phone and I'd start to go to, the web browser. Start to kind of type in, or I'd open up the phone, and sure enough, one of those notifications would be sitting there, and it's like, oh shit, what do I need to deal with? So I'd go to the social media platform, and 2 or 3 minutes later, all of a sudden, I'd go, why did I pick up my phone? Right? Because I couldn't remember. Because I got distracted, right? I lost that productivity, and they got me to go where they wanted me to go. Now, why are they doing that? Because they're trying to sell you things, right? The longer that you're on the platform, the more likely you're going to click on an ad. And again, nothing against ads. I use ads in social media in my businesses, again, to try to, attract people who are interested in what I'm offering, right? So I'm not dissing ads at all, but the fact is you can be way more productive and have a lot less stress. Because here's another thing that happens, right? Is one of those notifications will come on, you go and look, and it's like, oh man, I just posted something 5 minutes ago. Has anybody liked my post yet? Oh gosh, nobody's liked my post yet. Oh man. And then you start feeling bad about yourself as well, right? Because you're wanting that dopamine hit from people clicking like I usually click love, right? Hola, Facebook user. I know since I'm using a streaming platform, sometimes I can't see who you are. So if you're with me, if you type in, who's here, then I know who's actually here as well. But hola back, right? Facebook user. So anyway, where I was going with that, and the reason why I'm doing this live today is yesterday, right? I was on a call with someone who was interested in my Audit Leader Forum program. So they'd set up a call to talk about, see kind of what it was that if it was something that they were interested in. So we get on the call. I kid you not, we're 2 minutes into it. We're still trying to find out, a little bit about each other. And all of a sudden, this man's phone starts dinging, ding, ding, and so he'd reach over, he'd grab it, he'd pick it up, he'd set it back down again, ding, ding. In the first probably 3 or 4 minutes of our conversation, that phone dinged about 6 or 8 times. And each time he would stop, he would grab his phone, he would pick it up, it would interrupt the conversation, right? And so it's also rude when you're talking to somebody else, right? Now, what were all those dings? And he tried to apologize. He's like, ha, 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 company phone. I just got 6 emails. It's like, I don't fucking care that you just got 6 emails, and those emails can wait, right? Right now, we should be talking to each other because we want to be in the present moment and we want to respect each other's time as well, right? So on the notifications, right? So again, in your phone, there's notifications. You can turn off sounds. For the most part, I turn off most all of the sounds. About the only one that I have a sound for are text messages, because I know that the only people who actually text me are my direct family or close clients or friends that I've given my cell phone number to. And they know to only text me if it's something that's more urgent, right? So I think I have that one on vibrate. The only thing is my phone when it rings through, right? But even then, just like now, I'm doing this live, so I turn to my phone on do not disturb, because right now it doesn't matter, right? Um, that my phone might be ringing because I'm right here with you, right? And so I want to be present with you right now. My phone doesn't matter. If somebody calls me while I'm on here, I'll take care of it later, right? Okay. So with the notifications, there's different options on your phone, again, depending on what kind of phone you have. I have an Apple, so I only know that, but usually you can turn off sounds, you can turn off banners, lock screen. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do, but I would suggest, again, just shut off some of that stuff, right? So turn your notifications off, except for actually the stuff that you really need, okay? Only check your email a couple of times a day, because again, most of the time it's going to be fine. And how do I know that? Because I was out of the office for like a whole week, right? I didn't check emails at all the whole week. And I came back, world didn't fall apart, right? Nothing, everything took care of itself, or I could get back to people when I came back into the office. And I'm sure you have done the same thing, okay? So email only a couple times, turn off your notifications. On social media, try to set some times, right? Because again, if you don't, then what ends up happening is you get pulled in to social media all the time. Every time you go to pick up your phone and you see that there's that little, red 3, that you have 3 messages in this particular app, you're going to be tempted to want to go and actually click on it. So typically what I try to do, and again, if you catch me on social media at the time, great, chat with me at that time, because I'm only going to be on for a short period of time until I need to get off and I got to go and do the rest of what I need to do. The other thing is you tend to go down rabbit holes on social media. So it's good to set a timer or decide, hey, I'm only going to be on for 10 minutes or I'm going to be on for a half an hour. Then that's it, right? Also, with any of these things, it's best to not do it first thing when you wake up or right before you go to bed as well, because a lot of times it brings in some of the anxiety and the thoughts that you're having by going through that. And first thing in the morning is a good time to get downloads. And right before you go to bed, you're wanting to try to get rid of as many thoughts as you can so you can actually fall asleep. Okay. So we talked about emails, notifications, social media, about the dopamine hit, right, that you end up getting. And again, it's all built in. That's why these apps are doing that, because what they want to do as well is what's called distraction marketing. You might not have heard of this, but again, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to have you pick up your phone when you're not really thinking about it and see some ad or something that you're going to click on, maybe because you're tired, just because you get distracted and you don't even realize what you're doing. And all of a sudden, you've bought something that you didn't intend to. Now, the other thing, and I think it talks about this in the Social Network documentary as well, is they're listening. They're listening. Okay. Now, how do I know that they're listening? Because it's amazing, right? When my wife and I are talking about something, or I'll give you a real life example. A couple of years ago, a couple that are friends of ours were staying with us. Okay. And so we were out on our back patio, in the evening, just talking, enjoying the weather. And we were talking about some different things. And I don't know where it came up, but we were talking about flaming hot Cheetos. Okay. Again, something that you normally don't talk about. I don't actually eat them. I like Cheetos. I don't really like the flaming hot ones, but we were just talking about it. And I kid you not, the next morning when we got up, we're sitting outside again, enjoying breakfast on the patio. We all kind of pick up our phones and are looking either on Facebook or Amazon or both. And sure enough, all four of us had ads for flaming hot Cheetos. Coincidence? I think not, right? So if you don't want people listening to you, turn off your phone, leave it somewhere else for a little while as well, and everything will be okay, right? So again, little public service announcement here on you, because I don't want you to feel that extra anxiety and stress. I want you to be more productive. I don't want you to get distracted all the time in things that don't actually matter. I don't want you to, be distracted when you're talking to somebody else, or when you should be presently engaged either in a conversation with somebody or in a particular task, right? Because your productivity will go up significantly if you actually block out time and you avoid all distractions until you finish whatever it is that you're working on. You will find that simple hack, and checking emails only once a day, turning off your notifications, and dealing better with your social media, that will it'll feel like you got 2 or 3 extra hours of work done during the day, which is great. Which means, again, if you're still working the same amount, it means you got that much more work done. Or, hint, it also means you can work less, but you still get the same amount done, right? How would it be to only have to work 6 hours, but you effectively got the same work done as you normally would in an 8-hour period? That sounds pretty great to me, right? Okay. So as always, I like to talk. So here we go. I'm up to 18 and a half minutes already. But if you have questions about this, leave a comment below. When I come out and check social media, I will check and try to respond back to you at that point. But have a great rest of your day till I see you on the next live.